Health radio and television program. We have been speaking today with experts in the field of preparedness. We've learned how Monterey County is prepared for disaster. We've learned how to prepare ourselves and our families. Now we're going to talk about pets and animals. We often forget those guys that we keep and love every day. And we've learned from previous disasters and emergencies that pets are a really important part of our lives. And in certain disasters, people have been reluctant to leave their houses and their homes without their pets. So we're going to be speaking today with Lisa Hoefler, who is Director of Operations for the SPCA for Monterey County. And she's going to let us know how to take care of our pets and our animals. Lisa, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for asking us to be here. It's a very, very important topic for us.
Yes, and I always love speaking with you. I always learn at least 3 things.
Great.
So, first question, what role does the SPCA for Monterey play in disaster preparedness and response in our county?
We're actually the lead animal agency when we work under a memorandum of understanding with the Monterey County Office of Emergency Services to provide services for pet owners and livestock owners in our community, and that includes everything from preparation and preparedness to response.
So what particular programs or services do you provide?
We provide training programs. That's probably one of the most important things that we do for any service clubs or anybody who is interested in learning more information about how to prepare for a disaster for your pets. You'll hear a lot of the same themes that we've already talked about today with Dr. Haney and with Karen Smith, and it does have to do with having a plan. It's really, really important that if you have pets, you include your pets in your plans as well, and our training programs go through all the details about how to be prepared for disaster and keep your pets in mind, so that you don't have to make some very difficult decisions about maybe leaving your pets behind in a disaster. You can safely prepare and bring your pets with you so that you're safe and your pets are safe, which is the most important thing.
So what other things do you provide? I know that at shelters, the American Red Cross sets up sites that the SPCA is there as well?
Yes, exactly. Back in 1995, we had some floods here in Monterey County, and we received a call from the Red Cross at 3 o'clock in the morning saying that there were people evacuating to a Red Cross shelter with their pets. And we said, oh, okay, well, we'll come down and we'll give you a hand. As it turned out, we were the first humane society in the country to co-locate with the American Red Cross to provide animal sheltering services outside of a Red Cross shelter. They have very good reason for not allowing pets in their shelters, between allergies and those types of things. But we don't ever want people to have to leave their pets behind because they think that they cannot bring their pets with them to a Red Cross shelter. So in Monterey County, if you are ever given the order to evacuate, the most important thing is bring your pets with you. The SPCA will be there to be able to take care of your pets for you during a disaster if you're going to a Red Cross shelter.
See, I did learn one thing there. I didn't know that we were the first.
Yes,
That's
we're
awesome.
the first in the country, yes.
And then what about other types of animals besides pets, like livestock? You mentioned that you also are responsible for them.
Yes.
Do you have evacuation sites for them?
We actually do a number of things for livestock. We rely on a group of wonderful volunteers in our community called the Monterey County Livestock Evacuation Group, and we work with them to provide evacuation services behind, for instance, fire lines or wherever it might be, and they help us get the animals out in terms of trailering or whatever has to be done there. And the pre-selected sites are all throughout the county, everywhere from the Marina Equestrian Center to a number of different places. And we have a person who acts as the air traffic controller to make sure that we know where all the livestock animals are going, whether it's cattle or sheep or goats or emus or whatever it might be, to make sure that these animals are kept safe. In particular, our most recent was, of course, the Basin Complex fires, and getting these animals evacuated safely.
Okay, so talking about pets, what can the general public know? What should we do to prepare? I have a new puppy, so what should I do to be prepared in case of an emergency for my pet's sake?
Certainly having a plan, as we've talked about, as well as having a kit, and having a disaster supply kit for your pet is very, very important. Many of the same items, in fact, that are recommended for people are also recommended for your pet. One thing in particular is a first aid kit, making sure that you have one for your pet. The Red Cross makes a very specific kit just for pets, or you can do what I call going shopping in your own medicine cabinet, and you can pull out those items, everything from gauze to disinfectants and bandages and those types of things, to make sure that you have a disaster preparedness first aid kit for your pet. You definitely want to make sure you have food. You want to make sure you have water. Water is probably one of the most difficult things to figure out what you need. For pets, it's recommended between 40 and 60 cc's per kilogram per day, and what that means in English is is about an ounce of water per body weight per day.
Okay.
Now that can change depending upon whether or not the animal is an older animal or diabetic, which would have higher need for fluids, or if it's a very warm time of year. So you should talk with your veterinarian, but you want to generally plan about 1 ounce of water per body weight per day to make sure that you have that in your kit for your pets.
And should you have a 3-day supply for food and for water?
Yes, a minimum. And for pets, they generally say 72 hours for people. We like to say 7 days for pets, simply because there might be supply lines that are cut. You know, you're not going to be able to get the pet food, you know, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So we do recommend up to 7 days for your animal, if you can possibly store that much. One of the most important things that we found during Hurricane Katrina, is having a full body color photo of you in the photo with your pet. We found out during a major disaster that there were multiple people claiming the same animal, sadly, those high value animals. And unfortunately, it was difficult to get some of these animals reunited with their owners. So if you don't have a microchip and you don't have ID tag on your pet, a full body color photo of you in the photo with your pet will help identify that pet as belonging to you, should your pet end up at a shelter.
That's a really good point, because I thought my response was, what about that microchip?
Yes.
What about your tag?
Yes, yes.
But if you have that picture, there's really no question.
Yeah, it's proof positive. And with the microchips are absolutely wonderful, and we absolutely encourage people to have microchips in their pets at all times. But if there's not a scanner available because the batteries are dead or whatever, the microchip's not going to be helpful. And of course, tags and collars can be taken off or get lost. But that full body color photo of you and your pet is pretty much proof positive that that little Bichon Frise belongs to you.
Right.
So
what else should be in the kit?
You can look at things like extra ID tags. If you have a cat, we highly recommend a pillowcase, because when you are going to be doing your evacuation, when a cat carrier comes out, the first thing the cat thinks is, oh no, I'm going to the vet. So what you can do is use a pillowcase, which most cats aren't afraid of. Put the cat in the pillowcase, then take the cat in the pillowcase to the pet carrier. That way you can actually get the cat into the carrier quickly and safely. So that's a handy trick for people. If you have birds or hamsters or any other little small pets, you want to make sure that you have specific food for them to be able to last for, again, 72 hours to 7 days, depending upon how long the disaster might go.
And you mentioned something about extra ID tags.
Yes.
What are those for?
That is actually for their temporary ID tags, and what would happen is if you're going to evacuate to someplace outside the area, say for instance you're going to your Aunt Tilly's house in Fresno, you want to have a current ID tag, and this is a temporary ID tag where you can actually write Aunt Tilly's telephone number in case the pet gets away from you when you've gone to an area that you're evacuating to. Microchip usually will come back to a home phone number that may not be working, or the license tag may come back to a home phone number that's not working. So that little temporary ID tag will let anybody who finds your pet outside the area be able to get that pet back to you. And they work really great if you travel with your pet and you're going to a hotel or a motel. You put the hotel motel information on the temporary little ID tag so that your pet can get back to you in case you're separated.
Well, I know you've been talking about the kit, and you have a couple little things there. Why don't you show me one of your favorite things from the kit that
That actually is the full body color photo. A couple of things, and actually I think Karen Smith mentioned it, is having something that's familiar. It can be very comforting to an animal. I know this might sound a little bit funny, but just having a familiar toy and that type of thing, because an evacuation can be very stressful for the animal as well. So that's one of the things. We talked about a pillowcase and medications, making sure that there are, if you have medications for your animal, those are really important as well. Food bowls and food and that type of thing. So a lot of these things are very, very similar in terms of your own kit that you're going to be having for your own family. A lot of people ask the SPCA, do you sell one of these kits? And we don't. And the reason is it depends. There's so many varieties in pets. What you need for a bunny is so different than what you need for a hamster, than what you need for a cat or a dog or whatever it might be. So you really have to put a little bit of thought into it and put your kit together. But if you go to our website for the SPCA, you'll see all kinds of information about how to put together a kit for your own pet.
So plug the SPCA and give us that website so we know where to look, so we have a list of those supplies.
That website is www.spcamc.org. It's very simple.
So www.spcamc.org.
Correct.
Okay,
yes.
That's great, because I think I'm going to have to get this together for Carly. And I had a question.
Yes.
What happens when you're in a disaster and unfortunately your animal is injured or needs medical care? Are there facilities or veterinary services at the shelters, or what do you recommend?
Yes, either at the shelter, or a lot of the shelters work together very closely, and the vets in our community are wonderful. We have representatives from the California Veterinary Medical Association that are here in our community, and we'll do anything and everything that we can as a group to try and make sure that the pets, whether they be stray or owned animals, are taken care of, and that includes livestock, dogs, cats, hamsters, whatever. We're all going to be pulling together to make sure that those animals are okay. I was inundated with phone calls during the Basin Complex fires, just with our local veterinary community saying, if you need help, give me a call, here I am. So
that's nice to know.
Yeah.
So we mentioned your website. What are other places that people can get information about how to prepare or prep their animals during a disaster?
Right, definitely any of the websites that you might be going to for your own family kits. That's FEMA, the Department of Homeland Security, the California disaster preparedness websites, even the Monterey County website and the Office of Emergency Services. You can go on all these websites and find all kinds of information. Just type in disaster kit for pets or disaster kit for animals, and you'll find a lot of really, really good information and be able to start gleaning information that's important for you and your pets.
Well, thank you, Lisa. I had one question actually come in through our email asking about what happens if my pet and I get separated. What are there services that you offer, or what do you suggest for someone who went to one shelter and their pet was evacuated to another place?
Right, for reuniting, yes.
Yes.
And what we do is we do have reunification services for pets, and we will work every angle we possibly can. Again, the importance of that microchip, the ID tag, or whatever it might be, and give the individual all the options of where the pet could possibly be, including vet hospitals, because sometimes an individual, a private citizen, might find an injured animal and take it to the closest vet hospital, and we will work with the vet hospitals to try and find out, and they will report to us if they happen to have an injured animal there. So it might take a little bit of work, but staying in touch with the SPCA, and we'll do everything we can to try and reunite your pet with you.
Well, thank you, Lisa. So it sounds like a couple key things that are the theme throughout is have a plan, know how to communicate, and have a kit for your pet, making sure you have food and water for 7 days.
That is the recommendation, yes.
Medications and other supplies like blankets and stuffed animals.
For comfort,
For comfort. And also to have a picture.
Yes.
I think that is a really big key.
Yes.
Because it's already a stressful time, and people may not have thought to have a picture so that they could keep that information straight when they're trying to get their family and their pets together.
Right, exactly.
Did I miss anything?
I think the only other thing, that, and it's available on our website, is you can get a copy today, is a full listing of all the hotels and motels in this area that allow pets.
Oh.
In case you decide you don't want to go to a Red Cross shelter, you can have that today. Start your emergency kit with it today, and you'll know exactly where you can go. If you're going to be evacuating with your pet to a hotel or motel, and you want to be able to keep your pet with you. So that's on our website right now.
Oh, that's amazing. I think I'll download that now. Well, thank you very much, Lisa.
You're welcome.
It's always a pleasure to speak with you. And as promised, I think I learned 3 things today, 3 more things from you today. I'll have you back on again real soon.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Hernandez.
Thank you. So as you know, we've been speaking about preparedness, both for the county, for ourselves, our families, and our pets. And I've learned a lot today, and I hope you have too. You use this information to keep yourself and make yourself prepared. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we do have the service of sending in questions through our email at mchd2010@gmail.com. So please submit questions. Next month, we'll be talking about immunizations. Thank you for joining me. I am Dr. Lisa Hernandez, and this is Your Health Radio and Television Program.